Hi, we're live.
It's funny because you actually never know when you're live.
I know, because they don't do the 3-2 anymore.
However, we are live. With that being said, it's the usual faces, usual places, same time. Anyways, let's get into it today. Let's talk first about our beloved Bears.
Your beloved
Then
Bears.
we will bring in a special guest today.
It's our first ever guest. This guy is like special because it's like our first live guest. And then you guys can like comment and all of that good stuff.
And you guys will probably enjoy this because we will be discussing hockey today, as well as a South Side, North Side controversy, which I'm pretty excited to get into.
Totally.
We named the segment from now on, you will see this familiar face
At
in the
least
penalty
once.
box with Vinny P, the New Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. We'll be talking about some hockey, and then we will get into tomorrow's highly anticipated and very, very scary elimination game 5
Huge.
in Washington.
Dude, so they have to travel tonight.
Correct. Tomorrow, 7:08.
Jeez. They are not joking, man.
I think it's in our favor, though.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Okay.
So
Bears.
Yeah. Let's talk Bears, and I'm excited to talk Bears because obviously we had a little bit more of a swagger going on this week. We had not only a Monday night game, we had a conference game, and we had a
Hawks. Or was that the Bulls?
the Bulls. But we had the Cubs, Bulls. We had it all going on.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we had Mitchell Trubisky make his first NFL debut.
Yes. I was excited. It's time. He's here. He came in. He had some nice rollout plays, some nice, he just came out and he looked very calm, cool, collected. He's living up to the hype, though he has nothing around him. So we have to be very, very patient, especially Harry Carey right here.
It's very, very scary. Because I think the guy he seemed extremely poised for his first start, but like you had just said, I mean, I have to backpack off that. It's crazy. I mean, some of the guys, he's throwing a guy. I'm a huge football guy, huge sports guy, and when I hear the pass completed to Jim Johnson, I don't.
Corey McBride.
I don't.
Who
right.
the fuck is that?
Exactly. Or I should say the pass dropped by one of those names.
Exactly. What's his name? Whedon, has he caught a ball? Every ball that he catches is either a penalty or he just drops it. Oh.
Thank you, Brittany. We appreciate you. It is.
Wow, from Missouri.
It is pretty insane, though, that I would agree. I mean, the level of talent at the wide receiver position right now, I'd give us a D- grade.
D-.
They did just promote Gentry up today and drop Thompson, which I'm actually kind of excited about, only because the chemistry that Gentry had with Trubisky preseason is definitely...
So who is 18? I thought that was the guy that he had chemistry with, because I never saw him before Monday. Is it McBride?
No, 18 is...
I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll go to the chef sooner or later.
I know Kendall Wright's 13, Thompson's 14.
And there's this 18 guy. I think
18 is Mark Wheaton.
No, he's not 18. He's 12.
Not? Oh, he's 12. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But
18. McBride the third. You're correct.
Ding, 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 ding.
McBride the third. Yes. But what I saw in the preseason was a lot of chemistry with 19 Gentry.
Okay.
He's the white receiver. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
He actually had a pretty decent preseason.
Okay.
But I think him being promoted to starting quarterback had a substantial role.
Grand scheme of opinion, I think Mitchell did a very good job for his first game, Monday night under the lights against a very, very, very good defense. We were actually in the game.
I agree.
He threw a tough interception, but yeah, at the end of the day, we got to make sure that he is taken care of. So
right. And, the other thing is that with him at quarterback, it seemed like our offensive time of possession was a lot longer than usual, which is extremely beneficial for the defense. I mean, the defense played a great game. But with that being said, they weren't on the field the entire game. Last Thursday we played against the Pack. They let up 30-something odd points, but they were on the field the entire game.
Totally.
When you go 3 and out and they just keep coming on and off, it's a disaster.
Speaking of the Pack, I just saw something on the network that Dave, what's his name, Trevathan? Danny Trevathan was accused of celebrating.
Yeah.
While Adams was on the ground motionless.
Yes.
And he took that very offensive that the Packers are still talking about that. What's your take on that?
Here's the thing.
And I'm not cutting you off.
Go ahead.
Let you take it. That was a old school NFL hit.
I agree.
But go ahead. What's your take?
See, here's the problem right now. The problem is the guy has stood up. He's fighting for yards.
Yes.
Therefore, you have no options in that situation because the guy either, one, fights for yards and you let him gain 2-3 yards and fall down, which there was a first down going on there.
True.
Okay? Or he's held up, he's fighting for yards, somebody comes in with a shot. Now, when you come in with a shot, he goes to lower his head to get to the ground, heads meet, boom. Mm-hmm. It's automatically dirty, okay? Automatic. Dirty. Then, for those of you who have played football, have a passion for football, when you make a good hit, it's instantly exciting.
Yes.
So, he made a pop. He was excited about it, as anyone would be, and then he realized the guy was hurt, and he apologized about it the next day. And I don't think it was right. It wasn't a malicious hit followed by a malicious
stand over him and
excitement. I completely agree with him, and it's just what it is. It's even more of a big deal because it's Packers Bears.
Exactly. So what I see is we got Baltimore coming up. I think this is Fox's last year.
Yeah, I would assume.
I just think we have to start over. We definitely have to draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
I just don't see any other. Is there maybe I need to watch, but is there a wide receiver right now that's hands down the guy yet, or we still got some time?
I think we still got some time.
Okay. So, I mean, that's just the Bears' luck.
We have a quarterback class coming up again.
We do. All right. Well, let's not talk about that because we already have our guy.
Exactly.
We traded up to get him.
That's correct.
One spot.
And I'm actually, I wasn't a fan of the move when it first happened, but I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I do like what I see that be going in the right direction. Okay. I would at least hope and like to think so.
All right. Well, let's, with all due respect, let's bring in the big guy. What's going on with that? Rotate your phone. There we go. Hi, Vinny.
Hello, gentlemen.
This is Vinny P. We're in the penalty box. He's in the box, so that's why he's right there. But
big Hawks fan, as you guys can see.
Big Hawks. Fuck out of here. So we're going to talk some hockey. As you guys know, we're not very prone to segments on hockey, but we obviously have a lot of sports fans that honestly have asked me, including Vinny, hey, why don't you guys talk about hockey? So you know what? We're going to bring guys that know what the hell they're talking about into the building to talk. So the first things first, we're going to do some basic stuff. Anthony, what's your first question for him?
So, with that being said, I the little that I do know about hockey, I wanted to kind of think about and wanted to pick your brain a little bit tonight. Mm-hmm. So, first, I think, I know it's very early in the season, but I would like to hear your top 5. This could be coming into the season. This could be kind of, after the first 5 games. Your top 5 players and a little bit of a synopsis as why you've picked these 5 players.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Vinny's a big fan.
Big fan. I would probably have to lead off number 1 with Sidney Crosby. Okay. I think Sidney Crosby is,
Number 1 is in...
the best player in the league.
Wow.
I think if there was a draft for one season only, Sidney Crosby would go first pick, first overall, easily. The guy has won multiple scoring titles. He's won the Stanley Cup 3 times back-to-back. He won the Conn Smythe Trophy as back-to-back MVP in 2017 and 2016. It hasn't been since the early 90s since somebody's done that before.
Wow.
So I would probably give it to Sidney Crosby. He's won multiple MVPs in the regular season and postseason. So I would probably give it to Sid, number 1.
Sid the Kid.
Sid the Kid. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
All right.
Pittsburgh Penguins. Number 2, I would probably have to go with a kid, Connor McDavid. He's 20 years old. I think he's the second best player. I think
Over Alexander.
oh yeah.
Oh,
I think Connor McDavid, maybe even by Christmas, I might have him and Sid flipped. I think it's that close. Connor McDavid, I think, is the fastest hockey player I've ever seen.
Wow.
He can just, there'll be guys who are in perfect defensive position and he'll just blow past them.
Okay.
So, and he won the scoring title last year at 19 years old, 100 points,
Jeez.
30 goals, 70 assists.
Tough.
Won the MVP of the regular season, obviously the Hart Trophy.
Okay.
Number 3, I would probably have to go with Sidney Crosby's running mate, Evgeny Malkin.
Okay.
I think he's overshadowed by Sid in the Pittsburgh Penguins game,
I would agree.
but, you know, when Sidney Crosby's battled injuries over his career, and I think
He's
when
backpacked the team.
yeah, and Evgeny Malkin won the scoring title twice when Sid wasn't in the lineup for pretty much 2 straight years. He's won the Conn Smythe Trophy in their other cup, their first cup, Pittsburgh. So Malkin's point per game actually rises when Sidney Crosby's not in the lineup, which is unbelievable, the fact that they consider him the second-line center. And you could see why Pittsburgh has so much success when they have 2 of the 3, in a lot of people's opinion, best players in the league. And then at number 4, I would go with previously mentioned Alex Ovechkin. He might be the greatest goal scorer who ever lived.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
More than a Wayne Gretzky.
Gretzky scored, I think it was 893 goals, I think it was. Ovi's closing in on 600, and he's 32.
Oh.
Some people think he could actually end up breaking that record. And Gretzky played in a time where goalies weren't quite as good, big, athletic as they are now. So I think Alex Ovechkin, he's got 7 goals already. It's been 3 games this season. He's 32. Last year, a little bit of an off year, but I think he was more concerned about the team winning. I think this year
Absolutely.
he's going to be a little more...
About Ovechkin.
I think he's going to be a little more selfish in terms of the goal scoring.
Okay.
And they've lost a lot of depth up front. But he's got good centers.
Who was the major departures this year for that team?
They lost Justin Williams. He was a forward. They lost Nate Schmidt, pretty good depth defenseman to the expansion Vegas team. They've lost just a bunch of depth players that you would think, none of the stars really. There were rumors that Ovechkin was going to get traded, but he never did. So, and they locked up TJ Oshie to a pretty large contract. So that should help them
Big
in the
move.
long run.
Who's that?
TJ Oshie was a former
Asian?
St. Louis Blue.
St. Louis Blue. And he had the cool shootout game
Was
in
he
the
Asian?
Olympics.
He is not Asian.
Okay.
No,
He's
he's
a
not
very-
Asian.
He's a very American,
He's-
Californian.
yeah.
looking
Oshie.
kid.
Yep.
Got it.
And then 5, I would go with, I'll give it to Patrick Kane.
Oh.
Patrick Kane, I think, is on the road to being the greatest American to ever play. First American never win the scoring title. Won 3 Stanley Cups. One of those 3, he won the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP 2013.
Okay.
And he's been one of the greatest Americans to ever play. He won the scoring title, had multiple 30-goal seasons. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to the upcoming Austin Matthews as well. I think he's got Toronto on the rise.
So we were doing a little talking before the show, you and I kind of chopping up some hockey. You had made a good point. You said that this Maple Leafs team right now is very similar to a 2015 on-the-rise young gun Chicago Cubs type team atmosphere feel. Go ahead and kind of
Expound.
kind of elaborate on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. The Cubs, they were really bad for a while. They were horrible. They are the first team in MLB history to lose 100 games and then win the World Series within a 5-year span. Theo did a very nice job. In hockey, there's a draft lottery. The Maple Leafs won it after being the worst team in the league, 30th out of 30. And they drafted Austin Matthews after having a couple really good players. Mitchell Marner, William Nylander. They traded for a goalie. But they're both very storied franchise. The Cubs, Chicago. The Maple Leafs are probably the most, media-driven, big fan-based team in the National Hockey League. And the Cubs are kind of the same way in the MLB. And the Leafs haven't won the Cup since 1967. So if they end up winning the Cup, I could see it honestly being as big of a deal as the Cubs winning the World Series.
That never is going to happen, but okay.
Ooh. That's a bold prediction.
That's not going to happen.
I think they have the best group of forwards in the league.
Okay.
They need I still think they need that number one defenseman, but I like their
It's not
goaltending.
gonna-
They have the best coach in the league.
But you think the city of Toronto could do it
Come on,
like us?
stop.
Do it like Chicago? Maybe not the fifth largest gathering in human history for the parade like the Cubs did,
That's right.
but
Fifth largest gathering, not sports.
In human
Gathering.
history.
yeah,
Human.
I think it would be a pretty big deal media-wise. Toronto's not as big as Chicago, I don't believe.
No shit.
No.
But no, not even close. But I still think it would be quite the deal in terms of the league and what it means to the league and the team.
Yeah, bullshit.
And the hardcore fans.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe that. To compare it to what
See,
the
we're
Cubs
talking about
did.
19, you said 67,
Yeah,
correct?
50 years.
So let's take 50 years and then let's take 108.
Well, 108 is double, but
Yeah.
That's correct.
it
It's
just-
actually more than
it's
double.
more than double, but
Yeah.
it goes to show how dry both spells really were. I don't think either team is really proud of that over either of them.
I mean, I'm pretty proud now that
Now you
we've
should be
done it.
proud.
Yeah, we are. Speaking of that, let's give one last thing of hockey before we go into some baseball. Who's your MVP for the year?
I think Austin Matthews is going to win the MVP.
How's his team, though? Because to me, an MVP should be on a winning
Yeah,
team.
Is
Yes,
he-
absolutely. Well, the Leafs started 3-0.
Okay.
They got that. He scored the overtime goal against Chicago on Monday during the whole. Kind of overshadowed by the Trubisky
We lost that
Cubs
game,
game.
correct?
Yeah, he scored in overtime. It was a beautiful goal. But he scored again tonight. They lost, but they're 3-1 on the season now. I think if he can get up to mid-30s, early 40 goals, and pick up more assists, I think. And the Maple Leafs have to make the playoffs, I think, for him to win the MVP. Otherwise, it might go to Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby or Kane. But if I had to narrow it down to someone right now, I think it's from Scottsdale, Arizona, Austin Matthews.
Okay, and then you said that the Penguins recently visited the White House.
Penguins recently?
Give me some highlights of that trip.
Well, it was a little awkward with, all the stuff going on in Washington right now. They made their annual traditional visit to the White House after winning the Stanley Cup upon their visit to the Washington Capitals tonight. With all the stuff going on, it was a little awkward. People kind of gave the Penguins some, a hard time about going to the White House. Should they do it? Should they not? How would they handle it? And, Trump sent his tweets about the Penguins being a good team, and then Crosby comes out to the media and says that there's nothing political about our visit, and the rumor on the street they didn't give him a jersey. I don't know how true that is.
It's
But-
alleged.
Oh yeah, allegedly they didn't give him a jersey.
What was the
It
other
was
allegation?
seemed a little awkward. The other allegation was that they denied a photo. Don't know how true it is, but it's an alleged. Saw a couple tweets about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some crazy stuff going on with
Why
them.
even go with
I
it?
know.
Well, they were in Washington to play the Capitals, but yeah.
It was more of an
Crosby said there was
experience thing.
nothing. Yeah, and Crosby said there was nothing political. Hockey's a little different than the other sports. Very European and Canadian driven.
The other sports.
Well, baseball and football probably majority have, well, not majority, but a good amount of American players.
Yeah.
Whereas every NHL team probably has 3 to 4.
True.
Right.
Bunch of Canadians.
That's a fair
Yeah,
assessment.
and
Yeah,
the Pittsburgh
it is.
Penguins probably
Didn't really think of it like that.
a third of their lineup has,
French.
guys who never won the Stanley Cup before.
Yeah.
You always, no
The
matter
Hawks,
who's in office, you
too.
kind of want to visit the White House.
The Hawks are getting sick of going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got a little sick.
They've met who?
3 and 6.
They know the place.
Trump. Yeah, they know
Completely.
They wanted to get there while local boy Obama was in office.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into some baseball talk. Vinny here is a Chicago White Sox fan to the core. If you guys watch our show and look at us right now, you could obviously see that we're in front for a reason, and the Sox are in the back. But
Much like the standings.
Yeah, so I'd like Vinny to discuss his pleasure of watching how the Cubs win. Wait, have we gone to the last? We're going to go to the last three NLCSs. So just explain what your thought process is on watching the Cubs as you guys are rebuilding.
Yes, we are rebuilding.
Okay.
But, you know, the Cubs have been a great team for a couple years now. I can't stand it.
3 years.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand
I
it.
can't stand it.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
What makes you sick to your stomach?
I feel like like my dog died, especially after they won the World Series last year. I thought Bryant was going to slip and fall before throwing the ball. World Series.
Are you mad?
And I thought I rooted for a dog shit franchise up until that point. And then on December 6th, they traded Sale, and they started actually avoiding mediocrity.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid mediocrity, I guess.
Got the kid out of their locker
They
room.
traded their entire.
That was their biggest news story.
Oh yeah,
The teenager.
Adam
in their locker
LaRoche.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Cody LaRoche, whatever his
But
name
after all trading the starting lineup and all, they only lost 11 more games than they did the year before.
was. Okay.
So obviously,
Only.
no 100-loss team this season.
Okay.
All right.
But
that's a very fair assessment. My question is this: there's a lot of Sox fans that are extremely content with how. But then there are a lot of Sox fans who, this is my personal opinion, who are taking what was done this year and kind of blowing it up like it's going to be like a really quick transition to you guys being extremely phenomenal in the very near future. Like as if you guys are going to do something that we
did.
Well, that's the problem.
What?
The team on the other side of town did exactly what the White Sox, or what they think they're going to do. They quickly went from 100 losses to winning the World Series. I think that's kind of what White Sox fans, like you're referring to, are expecting. I personally don't think it's reasonable.
I agree.
Okay.
I think next year they should be improved. I would probably say half of the prospects or guys they traded for will be in the lineup next year with Kopech and Giolito will come back, Moncada. I don't think we're going to see Eloy Jimenez next season. I think it's
That's what we gave you?
Yeah, for Jose Quintana.
Okay. Thanks.
But I don't think...
He had a great game.
He did.
I don't think next season...
Why does it make you... All right, let's... This is cute. Why does it make you sick to your stomach to watch us win? As a Sox fan.
Because when they won the World Series...
Ooh,
like I said, when the
you
Cubs...
talking about 12 years ago?
No, when the Cubs won the World Series last year, the White Sox, they started off strong, and then they finished the season, like, horrible.
Yeah.
Correct.
Chris Sale cut up his jersey in August.
Yes.
He was benched because of it. People thought he was going to be traded. They
Yes,
probably had a roster good enough to at least compete better than they did.
Okay.
Some people think that if they would have never tried to rebuild and maybe signed a free agent or two, they could have competed for that wild card spot this year. I'm not so sure about that.
Someone said Sox will draw big on Bulletproof Vest Night. Thanks, Brittany.
I like that. That's funny.
That, Vin.
I bet if they were losing a playoff game, though, they probably wouldn't leave in the 8th inning. I like that one.
Oh.
Wow, that is good material right there.
Good. I like that.
Okay.
So you are one of those fans, though, where you do feel realistic about this rebuilding process.
Yeah.
You don't think that, a god named Theo Epstein can sweep you guys off your feet like he did to us?
No, I don't think Rick Hahn is Theo Epstein even slightly.
Yeah, me neither.
But...
So do you understand what you just said? That it's not happening for you?
Well, you got to start somewhere.
All right.
You have to... I mean, they traded Sale for the number one prospect in baseball and the top pitching prospect.
Let me ask this. Within 10 years, yes or no?
I would be disappointed if they don't at least make a World Series
You didn't
run.
answer the question. Yes, he said
Yes.
Yes.
They're going to win it all within 10
Yes.
years.
You're serious?
Yes.
At the rate?
At the G spot.
All right, that's a fair assessment. Now let's transition into our team because we are still playing.
Yes.
Let's talk about tomorrow night's highly anticipated and very disgusting tonight's game 4.
Huge.
But let's talk about tomorrow night because I kind of want to get your take. I know you are a baseball fan, let alone a Sox fan, correct?
Absolutely.
On what you feel is necessary of the Cubs to leave Washington with a victory tomorrow.
Part of me just wants to say show up because it's hard for me to have faith in Washington from their point of view. They just kind of haven't proven to me that they can win this big game. But I think Kyle Hendricks, he has to pitch a gem.
Do you think he will?
From the Cubs, yes, I do. From the Cubs, if I was a Cubs fan, I would kind of hope Madden leaves him in there.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, I would think
we've agreed that our
Well, see, to me, that was a very major problem that I recognized early today. He Arrieta threw 18 pitches in the first, 18 pitches in the second. He was at 36 right there after 2. And that's when I kind of knew we need guys to step up.
Yeah.
And we need guys to step up fast. Then we made an error. That prolonged the inning some more.
It always starts with an error or a walk.
very tough error.
A very, very tough error.
Very tough.
Loses confidence. You go down 1-0
Go
on
look at
another.
your glove after that, Addison Schwarber. Your glove didn't do it. You did it.
Correct.
The fuck? Don't look at your glove.
But
I hate
that
when
is
they
the
do that.
major,
Oh, it's my glove.
major problem. Is the pitch count. Our whole game, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a Theo game. The same thing the Red Sox did. The way that they have success is they work the starting pitchers like horses on the opposing team.
They've had an elite starting pitching rotation since
Right.
this whole thing began.
And but I'm saying they work the opposing pitcher
Oh, yes.
hard.
Yes.
Pitch count them out. By the 6-7, you get some bums middle relief, and you tee off. Last year, our best inning was the 8th inning. You know why? Because we worked the pitch counts. We destroyed the relief. The problem this year, and it's a major, major problem, is that this year we don't have Dexter Fowler in the leadoff spot.
Huge.
It is huge.
Who had an eagle eye, and he hit 17 homers out of the leadoff position. He batted .300, and right now we can't get a guy on base to save our lives.
Well, if you have Bryant and Rizzo coming up to bat when the starting pitcher on the opposition is coming in the stretch, and he's worried about not only you, the guy on base, it gives Anthony and Chris an advantage. If a guy like Dexter's always getting on base,
Right.
Where now when he's not on, the pitcher's focused on you and you alone.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
As you guys can see, we're extended because we want to get every ounce of Vinny out. Vinny hasn't really been Vinny yet. He despises the Chicago Cubs, and obviously, I'm just trying to get him to be
Trying to
honest.
get me rattled.
No, I'm not trying to get you rattled. I just want to know, why the Cubs thing isn't it. Look at this motherfucker. We're watching some old previews of the Cubs winning the World Series when LeBron was going psycho in the stands.
And an
all
update
that
alert
good
for you
stuff.
guys if you're unaware. The Yankees are leading Cleveland in the bottom of the 8th with one
Pretty
out.
huge.
A
Cleveland
very big
is
surprise
very
to all.
favored right now, especially by Big
Chapman on the
Fan.
bump too.
So what's your take on Mancada? He had a very, very, very tough season. I mean, you said he is the best prospect in MLB. But
I don't know if I would call it a tough season. He won White Sox Prospect of the Year. Surprising?
oh god,
I didn't even know
I
that
didn't
was
know
an
that
award.
existed.
Well,
But-
they've been focusing on the prospects a lot this
Oh,
season.
okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
Next year, I expect to see more, for sure. I think he'll have, more confidence. He'll be coming out of, spring training thinking that he's going to make the roster for sure.
Okay.
Where this year he was called up, and he's kind of expected to be the savior. He was
Okay.
traded for Chris Sale, one
Yeah.
of the best pitchers in White Sox history. So,
I guess that's a good thing to be one of the best pitchers. White Sox history.
Worked out well for Boston.
Yeah.
Well,
Really
yeah,
good.
he got shelled in Boston.
So,
He had a pretty good season. Season.
what do you guys got to do for pitching? Because obviously you traded your best pitcher to us after sale, of
Yeah.
course. What do you have in the? I mean,
The pipeline.
yeah.
So they got back in return for sale with Mancada, Michael Kopech,
Okay.
who apparently is able to throw
Apparently.
100 miles an hour.
Apparently.
No, he is able to throw
Okay.
100 miles an hour. And they think they're kind of thinking that maybe around mid-April, mid to late April next year, early May even,
Okay.
that he could be called up. Kind of like the Chris Bryant deal where they waited.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Mid-season.
Smart.
yeah,
Smart.
they
Save
got
money.
Lucas Giolito in return for Adam Eaton.
Okay.
You know,
That
I
was
think
a
it was the
that was
day.
highway robbery.
It was absolutely highway robbery. It was the day after the sale trade, I believe.
Okay.
And they got Giolito for him. He came in this season, had some very nice starts later in the year.
What kind of contract did Eaton get again?
It was too much.
Yeah, he got a lot. He's a very good leadoff hitter. He got hurt.
Dad said that's like being the tallest midget. Thanks, Jack.
That's funny. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean it's real life,
Yeah,
man.
it's what you're supposed to do.
You're in Cubs country here,
Hey.
pal. Okay.
I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, as long as you know. So, what's your deal for tomorrow? What do you think is gonna happen? We're gonna win, correct? Get to the Dodgers.
I think they get to the Dodgers. I think it comes down to managing. Will Dusty Baker or Joe Madden overmanage the teams?
That's gonna happen. I mean, I think
Lester said he wants to pitch again tomorrow, but he doesn't think he's going to get the okay. I mean, come on.
He pitched phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, he pitched great.
He really
I had no
did.
problem with Lester's performance today, or Arrieta for that matter.
I mean,
No.
tomorrow is Game 5.
It's all do or die.
It's do or
Yeah.
die. You don't hold
Oh
back
yeah,
anything.
there's no tomorrow after
No.
tomorrow.
So you
You
don't
worry about the
save-
Dodgers if you win.
You don't save anyone for the game.
So if we win tomorrow, when would be our next game? What, Saturday?
I would probably guess.
I would assume a day, because they would come. We would have to go to LA.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably be Saturday afternoon or late afternoon.
Yeah.
But I don't want to move that fast because
I'm just kind of thinking about as far as who could come out of the pen tomorrow who's a starter.
I mean Quintana can come out.
Quintana's probably the only one I would expect.
I mean Kyle's going.
Right.
Quintana.
But then you do that, and my thing is, who starts game one if we advance?
I think Lester would be ready. Think about it. Saturday.
Or if they don't touch Quintana.
True.
Right.
Has Quintana ever even come out of the bullpen in his career?
Probably not.
I would
Because
assume
he's never-
no.
well,
But I could
because-
definitely
I
The
can
White
tell you
Sox
why.
never made the
There
playoffs
you
with
go.
Quintana on the
So the
squad.
White Sox never made.
And
the
I could
playoffs.
definitely
Easy
see. I
opportunity
could
to make fun of him.
definitely
Yeah.
see Joe making that move.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Joe
Absolutely.
is going to manage his ass off.
Yeah, and so is Dusty,
his
which could
detriment.
lead to Washington's demise.
It was funny, and while Joe takes out Quintana. He's pitching a gem. He takes him out. He puts in Strope. Strope gives up a hit.
Boom.
Washington lead 1-0. Scherzer in the 7th has a no-hitter. He gives up one hit. Baker doesn't learn from
Stupid.
Joe's mistake. He brings in the relief.
Cubs
He
win
gets
the game.
popped for 2, and they win.
How do you not walk Anthony Rizzo?
Rizzo was thinking the same thing.
Respect me.
Right, and a lot of people he caught a lot of heat for that actually from a lot of Sox
Mm-hmm.
fans actually
Really?
because they said, "Oh, how could you say respect me after you hit a blooper?"
Hits a
Is that what
hit.
the Sox
Hits a
said?
hit, right or wrong.
Hey, I know what a good hit is. No matter what team you root for, Tony Rizzo is one of the best players in the league.
Tony
calling
Riz.
Tony Rizzo,
Tony
Team Italy.
Okay.
Wow, look at
Team
Vinny
Italy.
P. I'm starting to like this guy as the show progresses.
So, what's next for the White Sox?
Well, they picked 4th in the draft because
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Detroit had the ultimate tank job towards the end of the season. They tanked like I've never seen anybody tank before.
They were on a good pace.
Yeah, and after trading Verlander, I think they won 2 of their last 20 games or something along those lines. They were professional tankers this year. The Sox ended up actually coming 4th in the division behind Minnesota, Kansas City, and Cleveland, obviously. They're still playing.
Verlander, man, he sat up like the Undertaker when he came to Houston.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's a tank right
He
now.
gave up that 1 home run to Benintendi. And
Great player.
yeah.
So 4th, is there a guy out here? What do you guys need? Because I don't follow the White Sox.
I would like to see a catcher. I'm still kind of concerned about where the catching's going to go.
Okay.
I do believe they're always good at they turn guys off the street into good relievers. What are we getting now?
Carl Edwards is a crackhead. He's on the floor in the locker room right now looking for rocks.
He gave up the slam, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gave up the
And
no.
he gave.
No, our closer gave up.
Oh, Wade Davis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
In a bad situation. he
In a
came
tough
into.
situation, you know.
Did
the
Carl
game-
Edwards put him in that
He,
situation?
Yes.
Carl
Yeah.
Edwards blew the game.
Harper hit the
game-
home run off
game
of him, right?
2.
Yeah.
Harper hit, game 2.
Game
Yeah.
2.
Exactly.
But I mean, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. You know, it's a little nerve wracking. It is an elimination,
Yeah.
and I want to watch Cubs baseball for another
Machado
week
to the
or so.
White Sox? Like Manny Machado? Is that possible?
Yeah, well, he's a free agent right in time for them to go about trying to complete this
There's
rebuild.
a lot of White Sox fans out here.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of fans.
So, do you think that's something that's realistic to grab Machado? Because that would be a big pickup.
But it would be a big pickup. They won Luis Robert, and he was kind of like
Is he like
the...
an overseas guy?
Yeah, he's from, I don't think it's Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
they
I
won.
remember.
They won that thing, and he was offered a lot of money by a lot of teams, and they ended up winning. I think the Latino factor has a lot to do with it, with all the young guns coming up that are,
Gotcha.
and then led by Jose Abreu, who had a phenomenal year,
Again?
led the American League in total bases.
Okay.
So he had a very strong year. I think if Mancada can really pick it up next year and bat in front of him, and then you got the outfield is set.
Okay.
It's
I
going to
mean-
be interesting to see what they do with Avi Garcia, the All-Star.
Okay. I hear a lot of talking. You know, you guys have put yourself in a position to try to do what, you know, the real team did. So my whole thing is to make sure that you understand that just because you follow the script doesn't mean that the director knows how to direct.
Absolutely.
Because you guys have our piece of trash coach, manager that we threw away.
I think he's
prior
going to get the Cubs treatment, though.
Yeah. What do you mean? Because we gave him a ring.
Yeah, by the
Nice.
Cubs treatment, I mean fire him when a Joe
He's
Madden-esque coach
Yeah.
becomes available.
Arises.
Like the Red Sox fired
I
Farrell
was just
today.
going to say, what about him?
I don't know if they'll pull that trigger this year. Dude,
I think you just
you
said,
gotta.
fuck it.
Don't you think you got to do it when you expect to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, the way they played,
But no.
the way they played at the end of the
Because
season this year,
We
I
got,
could see them.
We got Joe 3 years before we thought we were there.
That's true, but they were there. They made it to the NL National
They
League
weren't
Championship.
expected to.
No. And if it wasn't for Daniel Murphy absolutely going off in 2015 NLCS, who
trying
knows
to
what the Cubs do that year?
Reed. He thinks Joe Madden is a shitty coach, says Adam.
Who does?
Adam Hill.
Oh.
He's one of our viewers.
There's a
He's a phenomenal regular season coach.
there's a lot of people that would agree.
Playoff. I just saw
In the
a
playoffs, he
hashtag.
overmanages a lot.
I just saw a hashtag fire Joe Madden right when I pulled up Facebook. So we're not even out yet. But
would've been
it's
tough.
going to be tough. I'm not talking about it.
He made some big errors in Game 7.
Yes, and I think if they would have ended up losing that game, and
He
this
would've been
season
held
when the Cubs
extremely
were
accountable.
struggling in
And
the
then his-
July area, I think it would be a little more talked about
And
as
then
a
his
hot
freaking
seat.
his team, some of his players were, you know,
Yeah, you
not
have to execute.
behind him
Yeah.
as well. So
Right.
that's a tough situation. But other than that, I mean, I'd like to thank Vinny for coming. We'll
Thank
see
you guys
him.
for having me.
We'll
Absolutely.
see him soon.
Guy knows hockey, man.
Yeah, he knows his hockey. We want you guys to, I mean, we're commenting. Want you guys to give us some more info and what you'd like to hear from Vinny once we go, you know, more on site. Sox still suck. We'll see you soon after the Cubs handle business tomorrow, and we'll move forward from there. We're going to do a lot more live because we don't want to shoot and not talk about our Cubbies. So
Right.
That's a little more important to us during the playoffs. So right now it's 3-2 Yankees, and this idiot just dropped the ball. So for Anthony, for Vinny P, this is Dion. Take care.
Do not forget to please go on the podcast app on your iTunes phone. It comes on the phone. Subscribe. Just search ECSports. Hit subscribe. It's a great listen on the way to work, especially if you missed the live.
What if you don't have iTunes?
If you don't have iTunes, then simply go on your Android device, download the Spreaker app, which is the most common app for podcast, and then again, just search EC Sports, and once again, please subscribe. We appreciate you guys here on Facebook, but we would love for you guys to subscribe.
I think it says EC Sports Show,
Yep.
and you'll see like a half face of us. All right, say bye, Vinny.
Bye. Thank you guys for having me.
Take care.